Happy Sunday to you, my dear brothers and sisters. Today is the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Today is also the Prison Awareness Sunday. Let us pray for our dear brothers and sisters who are in prison. And let us pray particularly for those who are imprisoned unjustly, that justice may be given to them. In Exodus chapter 20 from verse 2 to 17, God gave us the Ten Commandments as an expression of His love for us, as an expression of His desire to have a relationship with us. He did not give the Ten Commandments to police us, but He gave it because He desires us to live a good life and eventually come to be with Him in heaven. He also gave the Ten Commandments because He wanted to foster a good relationship among the people of the world, so that we may respect one another in the light of the Ten Commandments and of course allow peace to reign among the entire humanity. In the Ten Commandments, let us remember that the first three commandments refers to our relationship with God, but the other 7 commandments refers to our interpersonal relationship with one another. You see, when the Bible speaks about love, it's not just a feeling, but love is a relationship. A relationship also aiming towards the welfare of the other person. The Jews, and in particular the Pharisees, they tried to interpret the Ten Commandments, and they ended up multiplying the Ten Commandments into 613 unwritten or oral laws. Today they come before Jesus, asking Him which of these laws is actually the greatest among all. In the account of Matthew, which we are reading today, it was a trap question. But in the account of St. Mark, it was a friendly question. But Jesus gave the answer to their question by quoting Deuteronomy chapter 6 from verse 5 and also quoting Leviticus chapter 19 verse 18. Jesus teaches us today that we should love the Lord our God with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all our mind. The heart for emotion and life, the soul is the center of life, and of course the mind is the mental capability, the intellectual capability of every human person. The invitation of Jesus here is that we should give our entire self to God and make God the center of our entire life. It's an invitation to have a total commitment to the love of God, to have a total devotion, a total dedication of our lives to God, that before I think, before I say, before I do anything, God must be the center of everything that I do or say. The second greatest commandment, according to Jesus, is also anchored or linked to the first one, which is the love of neighbor. The word Jesus uses here is agape, which means unconditional love. In fact, Jesus quoted from Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18. Leviticus chapter 19 from verse 9 gives us particular instances of how we should show love to our neighbor. By being considerate to them, by not slandering them, by not gossiping them, by not defrauding them, by not cheating them, by not spoiling their name or destroying their reputation, by respecting the widows, by respecting the orphans, by seeing everyone as the image of God. In fact, that is our first reading today, taken from Exodus chapter 22. In 1 John chapter 4 verse 20, St. John gives us a perfect link between the love of God and the love of neighbor, because he says, how can one say, I love God, but he hates his own brother or sister? This is hypocrisy. It means that one of the major ways we show our love to God, whom we cannot see, is to love our neighbor that we can see. There are 2 important things I would like us to take note. When Jesus said, your God, He gave God a personal dimension so that we do not understand that He's talking about an abstract God. No, He's talking about a God that has extramental existence, not an abstract God. And secondly, when He says neighbor, He did not say love the whole world, but He gives us a particular instance so that we don't say, oh, I love the whole Africans, or I love the whole Asians, or I love the whole Europeans, or I love the whole world. Jesus gave it a particular instance by saying neighbor, which means the person that we encounter, irrespective of the person's race, but the person we encounter either physically or virtually. But that person is my neighbor because that person is an image of God. For me, I believe that all the homilies, all the reflections, beautiful, powerfully written by erudite scholars, theologians, everything is summarized in this thing that Jesus said today. the love of God and the love of neighbor. If I don't love God, I cannot love my neighbor. If I don't love my neighbor, I cannot love God. And this is the summary of the whole Bible. The best way to love our neighbor is to be a person. A person could be taken as an acronym because the P refers to patience. We have to be patient with one another. Don't give up on one another because we are all created imperfect and we are also created unique. So let us also be polite with one another. The E refers to empathy. We should be empathetic with one another and we should treat everyone equally, irrespective of the person's race, color, creed, religion, tradition, or age. Everybody must be treated equally, and that is justice. The R refers to respect. We should be respectful for everyone because each and every one of us, we are all made in the image and likeness of God, and also receptivity. We should be receptive to everyone, and that is also a sign of respect to God. The S refers to simplicity. We should learn to be simple and not always take everything serious. Even some of us cannot take jokes. We always get angry, we get disturbed when people do little mistakes. Let us live a simple life and not a complicated life, and this will foster and promote our relationship with one another. The O refers to open-mindedness. We should learn to be open to other person's opinions and ideologies, not always mine. We should allow other people also to share their own intelligence, to share their own ideologies, to share their own opinion. That is what it means to love other persons, giving them opportunity and being open to accepting the way they speak, the way they act, and everything about them because we are all unique. The letter N refers to nurture. There is no perfect relationship, there is no perfect friendship, but we are the ones to nurture our friendship through many ways, through constant communication, through every other thing I have said today, especially respect for one another. When you look at that crucifix, you will see clearly the perfect expression of love. So if we really want to love one another, we should look unto Jesus on that cross because Jesus has shown us how to love. It means, living a kenotic life. It means self-emptying. If we look at that cross, you will see that the cross gives us a perfect way of loving God and loving our neighbor. The vertical line refers to our relationship with God, and the middle of it refers to our reflective mind, that we always keep God at the center of our thoughts. And of course, the horizontal line refers to our interpersonal relationship. The downward sign of the cross refers to the humility that we must assume, the basic disposition we must have in order to love. When I die tomorrow, God is not going to ask me how many masses I celebrated or how many rosaries I prayed as a priest or as a Christian. But God is going to ask me, how did they influence my relationship with the people around me? How did they, prompt me to show love in thought, in words, and in actions? It's not just about feeling, but it's about, showing in practical terms how I love the people around me. I want you to remember that you are blessed to bless.